there, I'm Chris Rachel Losem with the Austin Post. I'm out here with Ben Hamby, a maker here in Austin who is going to make you very, very impressed with what you see. If you've seen the sci-fi show Face Off, a lot of those effects are things that people here in town are actually doing in real life. So let's take a look at some of his work.
So, as she said, like on Face Off, sometimes they do vacuum form, which is the way that you get armor pieces and things like that they use in all kinds of movies, but like Star Wars, of course, Stormtrooper armor, Boba Fett armor, all of that stuff. This is actually modeled after the game, The Old Republic. There are people who are making armor for Jedi, but they aren't making the female version, and we get a call for that. We get a demand. So what I've done is this is an initial clay sculpt that I've done. Obviously, this is for a small, petite person, and then I'm going to have to make multiple sizes. Each one of those will have to be then molded, both positive and negative. And now we move to Casey Jones. Hey, Casey Jones's face. So, after that, we put an alginate or a silicone over it so that you get a nice solid mold. Then you pour a plaster. We like to use orthodontics plaster or this stuff, which is called Yellowstone. It doesn't shrink. It's incredibly strong and lasts quite a while. Then you do a second, whenever you have the positive mold of what you've sculpted, you then take that, you sand it completely smooth. You then have to go through what we call a soaping process, which is exactly what it sounds like, which makes it to where there's literally like no pores in the stone at all, because you can't have anything once you're going to heat up the plastic and form it over the item. So you would take a sheet of what they call, there's ABS, there's several different types of plastics that can be heat formed, and you take just a big blank sheet, you heat it up, and this is where the vacuum form table comes in. And I could take you out back and show you the vacuum form table, but really Google it. There's lots of how to make one with a shop vac and some heating elements and things like that. So that's good stuff. So, or you could go to the tech shop, which have an amazing professional one, which is where we sometimes go whenever we have to get incredible precise molds. But you could make your own for simpler things. And then what the plastic would do is plump with the vacuum, hence vacuum form, down over it, and of course it doesn't have the holes. Gets formed over the shape. Then whenever you release it with a little puff of air, you then end up with a big square with all of this shape on it. You do all your cuts, Dremel tool, hand tools, whatever, and then you can come on to yet another thing that none of these things would turn into, because this is an entirely different mold. But then you can end up with a final product like Vlad here from Hackslash. You can see that there's been shading, there's all the cutouts, he's got lenses in his eyes now. These were added afterwards, screwn on, that's a word, that's my new word, screwn. Post screwed on, yes, okay, well, there we are. And then I like to use leather and make straps and all of that sort of stuff, and then put him on a latex head because, well, Vlad's green, and I'm not. So hopefully, one tiny piece of that made any sense whatsoever, and if it didn't, we're here to help. So contact us and friend on Facebook and all that stuff, and if you have questions, I do actually answer.